That's insane. They stole IP through cyber terror? Yeah, okay. Trump doesn't get the basics. Wait, no, not this one. He thinks his tariffs are being paid by China. No, this isn't it. This isn't it. This is the old tweet. Any freshman econ student could tell you that the American people are paying his cashiers at Target see what's going on. They know more about economics than Trump. Hashtag Team Joe. That's from 2019. That's different. Man, this is the one I'm looking for. Thank you. For years, the Chinese government has cheated by pouring money into Chinese companies, which then dump cheap products onto the market, hurting competitors who play by the rules. I'm announcing that tariffs will ensure American workers are not held back by unfair trade practices. They're cheating. In the age of unimaginable inflation that is harming the average American, if you would like to get a $12,000 electric vehicle that's better than the ones that are readily available in the marketplace, well, fuck you then. You want a $12,000 EV? You're not getting it, bitch. Fuck you. You understand me? Subsidies are cheating. That's why we need tariffs, except for when I was running against Donald Trump, in which case I said no tariffs. You can't say Chinese like that, brother. I'm rewatching Deadwood right now, and it's fucking me up. Yep. Biden says that the difference is that these are narrowly targeted as opposed to Trump's. I disagree with the tariffs, but that's the argument. He's clearly doing it because it's popular in an election year. Okay, well. Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, we can't even call Chinese products cheap anymore. They used to be, but now they can produce the absolute shittiest as well as the absolute finest products in the world. Yep. They don't want the day where all chatters on a shout.
You are looking at the Xiaomi SU7. This thing starts at $30,000 US, goes up to $41,500 US, and it comes with almost 800 kilometers of range, apparently. And Jacob, what's the...
That's impossible. I don't believe that. Wait, 800 kilometers of range? That's 400 miles. How are you complaining about the tariffs? Were you pro UAW? Listen, as far as the tariffs on Chinese products goes, okay, I'm in favor of hyper-focusing our efforts on not only subsidies in the United States, but also ensuring that those subsidies go to the hands of the workers rather than just simply feeding the bottom line of the shareholders, improving shareholder value. Okay? That's the major issue that I have with the way that we try to outcompete China. 500 miles? That's insane. I don't believe that. Chinese range ratings are totally made up. It's probably like 250 to 280 on the US metric. Yeah, there's that. I don't understand how that, how you can go for fucking 500 miles. There's no shot. Maybe no AC. Yeah, doubt it. Probably has a gas generator in it. 250 miles downhill on neutral. They can store gas and use it to create electricity, increasing the range to like 600. I read they have had production problems. There's a generator inside the car. They have gas generators in it. What is this? Okay. This car is immensely bad. 20% of all sold models of insurance claims already. Okay. Just got the best regen braking Lamau, but no, for real, gas generator to charge the batteries is so pog. The SU7 does not have a generator. It's full EV. They have had production problems, yes. Okay. This conversation is like falling apart because now we're talking specifically about Chinese EVs. Let's dial it back to the anti-competitive nature of the Chinese government and their subsidies.
Rights and their enforcement, as the EU has expressed concerns about China's approach and claims it hinders innovation and investment, something which is not reflected in the data, but nonetheless China has expressed willingness to discuss. Instead of banning apps and warmongering as the US would prefer,
what I would like from the Biden administration is what many people have suggested before me as well, which is that I have no issues with subsidies to American corporations, not at all. As a matter of fact, something that I always say is that I want America to be more like China, not on the repression of civil liberties or mass surveillance front, but instead on even development and rapid urbanization, and also a genuine focus on shifting our attention to renewable energy front, and maybe even foreign policy. Okay, greatly dialing back our violent militant nature in our foreign policy. Those are the things that I wish America would copy China on. Trains everywhere, for example. Now, having said that, I don't have an issue with subsidies at all. That's why I have talked at great length about like Elon Musk back in the day, telling you that I wanted him to be the perfect beacon for this kind of thing. Like he basically, he was set up to be a phenomenal champion for the correct kinds of subsidies. And yet he became this like right-wing shithead. Okay. Like what did he do? He focused his efforts on renewable energy, on EVs. And even if you listen to what he had to say before this, like, further and further right-wing slant into like becoming basically like an NFT hawker. The idea was the things that he claimed he was interested in doing was basically like, not what he actually did. Focus on what he said he was going to do was basically try to fucking modernize public transit, right? If you were to believe him. Even though the entire time he was just using that to position against existing public transit and existing development projects for public transit, while also being insanely anti-union. So, and failing along the way regardless. What I'm trying to say is, if the American government was like, we're going to give more subsidies to compete with China to our domestic manufacturers across the board, while simultaneously putting conditions on said subsidies, conditions like unionization, conditions like 51% approval in at the table with alongside the shareholders, okay? Focusing on even, I'll use liberal terminology for it, focusing on stakeholders rather than shareholders, right? A new way to do capitalism, things of that nature, putting conditions such as that on all of the new domestic manufacturing initiatives that were happening in this country would have been infinitely more beneficial. We didn't really do that, though.
the EU and China are seeking diplomatic solutions to these challenges, the most important being the negotiations for the Comprehensive Agreement on Investment, or CAI. This agreement aims to create a level playing field for businesses on both sides, strengthening intellectual property rights protection and enhancing transparency. Besides wisely seeking better relations with the world's soon-to-be second superpower, the EU is also, albeit slowly, attempting to claw itself out from...
What's the difference between a stakeholder and a shareholder? A stakeholder is every single person, including like the productive forces, whereas a shareholder, it's a way to be like socialist adjacent without actually doing real socialism. Stakeholders are every single person, including those who are a part of the productive forces. Shareholders are simply those who own capital, those who own shares in the company. Stakeholders are people who are impacted by the decisions of the company. That is not even outside of the boundaries of capitalism, by the way. Like what I'm describing to you was something that under the Trump administration, a bunch of CEOs who saw the writing on the wall promoted. If you recall, there were people writing articles at the World or to the World Economic Forum and to the New York Times, like 250 CEOs signed a letter saying we got to find a new way to do capitalism, to save capitalism. You know? Stakeholders also include people affected by the externalities. Yeah, like a renewed effort, a renewed focus shift on the environmental impact of your output, for example, things of that nature. Stakeholders, anyone who may be affected by a company's actions, negative or positive, such as consumers, competition, also including employees and those with ownership in an organization. Shareholders have monetary investments in the company. I've heard the term stakeholder is considered problematic. Wait, what? Dude, I don't fucking know what that is.
From under the weight of U.S. influence. Geopolitical tensions, notably Russia's war with Ukraine, have reinvigorated debates on Europe's autonomy and the role the U.S. plays in perpetuating conflict and antagonizing other nations.